As a beginner or mid-level developer, you've probably focused a lot on making your app functional. But have you considered how it feels to use? In this video, we'll explore 9 often overlooked aspects of UI design that can significantly improve your app's user experience. The examples use ReactJS and TailwindCSS, for example, but these principles can be applied anywhere. Mind your margins and padding. Uneven margins and padding are a dead giveaway that someone's still getting the hang of design. Consistent spacing makes everything look cleaner and more professional. Stick to multiples of 4 for margins and padding. Think 4px, 8px, 16px. It gives your layout a nice rhythm and looks way more polished. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just keep things even, and it'll instantly look better. Handle empty states like a boss. Ever opened an app and been met with a blank screen? Yeah, that's what happens when devs forget to design for the empty state. When there's no data to show, don't leave users hanging. Pro tip: add helpful messages or call to action CTA buttons to guide users on what to do next. Turn an empty screen into an opportunity to engage your users. Always show loading states. If your app is doing something in the background, let your users know. Nothing is worse than wondering if a button click even worked or if the app crashed. Pro tip: use a delayed loading spinner for quick operations so it doesn't flash too quickly. Here's a little trick to add a delay. That way, users don't see the spinner for super quick tasks, but they'll get feedback when it's needed. Keep a clear visual hierarchy. Not everything on your screen has the same importance, right? Make sure your UI reflects that. Use different font sizes, colors, and weights to guide users through the content. Pro tip: stick to 2 to 3 font sizes for your main content, and use color sparingly to emphasize key points. Don't overcomplicate things. Just make sure the user knows what's important at first glance. Embrace whitespace. Don't fear it. You don't have to fill every inch of the screen with something. Whitespace, aka negative space, is your friend. It helps your app breathe and makes it easier for users to focus. Pro tip: increase space between unrelated elements and decrease it between related ones. It's all about balance. Whitespace isn't wasted space, it's part of the design. Handle errors gracefully. No one likes errors, but they happen. When they do, be helpful. Instead of just saying error 404, give the user context and offer ways to fix it or try again. Pro tip: make your error messages friendly, clear, and actionable. Help users feel like they're not stuck when things go wrong. Add tooltips for long text and disabled states. Ever tried to read something in an app that was cut off or tried to interact with a disabled button, only to be left guessing why? This can be frustrating for users, and it's easily avoidable. Add tooltips title attribute to long text or for disabled elements to provide more context. Pro tip: when text is truncated or a button is disabled, a tooltip can offer users additional information, like what the full text is or why the button is inactive. This keeps the experience smooth and informative. Adding these tooltips makes your app feel more thoughtful and polished. Small touches like this show you care about the user's experience. Use contextual colors for feedback. Colors play a crucial role in guiding users through your app. Using the right color for the right situation makes the interface more intuitive and easier to understand. For example, reddish tones for errors, greenish for success, yellowish for warnings, and bluish for informational messages. Pro tip: stick to established color conventions to avoid confusing your users. Most people recognize red as an error or danger indicator and green as a success marker, so leverage that. By following these color conventions, you make it much easier for users to quickly understand what's happening in your app without over-explaining. This small detail not only helps in making your UI more intuitive, but also enhances the visual hierarchy by linking colors with actions and outcomes. Icons should enhance, not distract. Don't overload your UI with icons for the sake of it. Every icon should have a clear purpose and enhance the user experience. Pro tip: keep icons simple and recognizable, and ensure they match the action they represent. Use icons to clarify actions, not clutter your UI. Don't reinvent the wheel. Use solid UI libraries. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you have to code everything from scratch. But guess what? You don't. There are fantastic UI libraries out there, like Ant Design, Shadshin UI, Material UI, and Chakra UI, that can save you a ton of time and effort. These libraries provide well-tested, accessible, and consistent components, so you can focus on what makes your app unique instead of redoing the basics. Pro tip: if you're trying to move fast or you're working on a project with tight deadlines, leverage these libraries. But if you're building something purely for learning, feel free to dive into the details and build your own components. Using these libraries helps ensure that your app looks polished, functions well, and remains consistent, all while saving you time. You can always customize things later, but starting with a solid foundation helps you move faster. No need to code a button from scratch when there's already a beautifully styled, responsive one you can drop right in. The key to a great UI is attention to detail. These small tweaks, consistent spacing, clear hierarchy, thoughtful empty loading error states, and balanced use of whitespace make a world of difference. Whether you're working on your first app or your 50th, take the time to polish these areas and your users will thank you. This video was created by Lazy2Read based on an insightful article from the dev.to community. Scan the QR code above to visit the original page, read more, or leave a comment. With Lazy2Read, you can easily turn any article into a video.